Hi everybody, welcome to DMI. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to take a quick little tour of our shop and show you our facility where we build DMI sprint car components, midget components, and bulldog rear ends. Alright, welcome to DMI. We're going to do a little tour. So here we're in our lathe department. The very first thing you'll see is we're running solid torsion bars. Our torsion bars are made out of material that we have milled to our specs in Michigan. This is the first operation on them. Over here, they're actually running the solid bars. Right now, one of the guys who's operating this machine is operating another machine. But here's a box of bars that have just recently been turned, getting ready to go be splined. Our next machine is another lathe. Over here we're doing a spline shaft for Hyper. We do some private labeling products for different racing component companies, and Hyper Racing has been involved with us for well over 15 years, almost 20 years, and that's part of their steering mechanism. The next lathe is actually running sprint car drive shafts. Again, it's 4340 material milled to our specs here in the United States. The raw material here, and then it's a two-lot process where they turn to one side, flip it around, turn the other side, and then it will go over to another department that you'll see later where we do splining. Okay, next department here is another lathe. We're running midget spacers. This is our first time running magnesium midget spacers. We just got them done a little bit late for the chili bowl. This was something guys wanted for that. But we're going to be the first guys to offer a magnesium midget spacer kit to help save weight. Over here at this lathe, we're actually running a non-racing job. We do about 85% motorsports, our own product line, and we still do about 15% outside work. Whatever comes through the door, we'll pay. This is a job for butt castings that will end up being used on Case New Holland tractors. So they're running this job on both turrets right now. So two get machined at a time, and long time job that we've done. In this lathe right now, we're actually running wide 5 tubes that they use on the dirt late models. So we take solid aluminum bar and use this drill and drill through it. And then we'll come back through. There's actually about 2 operations that we do for that, followed by doing the OD turning of it. And then that's how you end up with your wide 5 tube. Over here, we're watching Brent clean the machine. He's doing a good job. But he's actually running 8 rib bells for closed tube rears, dirt modifieds and late models. So that's a 2 operation job for us. The way we process our bells kind of sets us apart from the competition. It enables us to have a truer rear end when we're finished. That the tubes are perfectly perpendicular to the lower shaft. So our castings come out of Ravina, Ohio. And they're doing Op 1 on them right now. So we'll run through, we're doing like 250 right side, 250 left side. We'll run through those, all the first operation, then turn around and do all the second operation. And then there's actually some manual operations we have to do at the very end. And then we'll have a usable piece that can either go and be assembled as is, or head out for black thermal coating. Now we're into our lathe department. What you're seeing done here is our rear covers. So the rear covers actually come in as a forging. This is a raw forging. And then we'll go in and put the bearing bores in it, sealing surface, the O-ring groove that seals it. They'll go out. We touch off everything on the back. And then they'll go be anodized, come back in, and then have the Bulldog logo engraved on them. Next mill, we're actually running midget left front brake caliber mounts. So just a really simple little part goes in there. We pull off 2 per operation. Pretty simple little piece. This next mill, we're going from the raw material to that. That is actually the top cap for our vault lock rear cover. So it comes off, I think, 1 per machine cycle. The next machine, we actually are running billet steel yokes on. We're one of the few companies that make a billet steel yoke. It's a very labor-intensive process. We're using billet steel. We turn them in the lathe department, then we push the roach through to spline them, and then we actually trim off either side, and then they go in here to have their final machine work done to them, which would be the bottom profile, as well as the holes for the actual cross itself. After that, they will go to be like yellow zinc plated to protect against corrosion. Then we'll assemble them in units. This is the rest of our mill department. That's our large horizontal where we actually machine the center sections for the quick change rears. It's down for maintenance today. We're swapping out some coolant, stuff like that. Over here is another of our mills. It's running an outside job right now for a casting company. So we end up with 7 mills and also 7 lathes down in that department. So 14 total CNC machines. Now you're into our EDM department. We have one EDM machine. What an EDM is a wire machine that you use to cut things that are really hard, for lack of a better complicated explanation. So when we are lightening a ring gear, we do it on the EDM machine. What occurs is actually the gear itself submerges down in water, and then the arc of off the wire is what does the cutting. So when we scallop out the ring gear to save weight, that's done on EDM machine. To lighten one ring gear is about a 2.5 hour process. So it moves very slow, but it's extremely, extremely precision. Some of the other work that we do is we cut these in half. This is for some sort of a catheter for the medical industry. You can see how precise it has to be for us to cut that in half and those to go back together. So very, very precision machine, very slow machine, but a very specialized machine that we have. So now we're into the rear assembly area. What we do here, you'll see 8 stations set up. The 4 at that end is for the open tube rears, which would be your sprint car, super modified, midget, those rears down there. This end would be your closed tube, late model, modified, etc. So we have 2 assembly guys. Each builder is basically responsible for a minimum of 4 rears per day. So we try to ship out 8 rears a day. During the busy season, we'll actually do sometimes more like 12 to 16 a day. We'll bring a 3rd assembly guy in and do some pre-assembly, and then let our finished assembly guys do their specs and so forth to them. So the room here, you can see we have lots of the product right at their fingertips that they're able to just grab and go. As far as assembly, we try to do pre-assembly on some stuff, if it's especially on the sprint car side, the shifter mechanisms, things like that, we'll try to pre-assemble. So we'll continue to go down through here. More parts, axles for them to grab, rears that are either waiting for assembly or rebuild, or also new rears ready for pickup, waiting for the customer to arrive. More overrun of product. In here is actually our disassembly area, what we call kind of our teardown room. So the teardown room here, we rebuild about 600 rears a year. An additional parts inventory over on this side. Back here we have more parts overrun, all tubes for the closed tube side, more bells, axles, rears we're waiting for rebuild, spools, castings, all of our spools, some of the other forging products we deal with. It's usually like a 12 to 14 week lead time from the manufacturer of the forging. Then we have our machine time obviously after that. on the center sections, bells, etc. The magnesium foundry, same thing, about a 12 to 14 week lead time. Then when they come in, obviously we have to do our machine work to them. And on the ring and pinions, they come out of Italy. They are a 12 to 14 month lead time, so we need to kind of look into the future over a year on those in order to remain in supply. This next part of our tour is our manual side of the shop. So we still have just some manual machinists here, regular lathe, Bridgeport mills, that sort of thing. Behind us over here is actually some of our hobbing equipment, which is what puts splines on the drive shaft, what puts splines on the torsion bars, that sort of thing. Both machines are shut down now. The guys just ended their day and headed home for the day, but that's 2 hobs here. And then over here we have a gear shaper. Plus we just recently purchased 2 new gear shapers, and that would be to put in the internal splines into something that you can't push a broach through. I'll show you the pull broach that we have, but on a situation like here, say on this coupler, we're able to push a broach through this way because the broach is able to go all the way through. But on this side, we have to use a gear shaper because you can't push something down through to put the splines in. So it would go in that machine, and there's a bit that just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper until you have the teeth cut in. So that's everything here. We have some welding equipment down at this end. Over here is the lathe where we actually fix the snouts on the rears if we have to. The rear cover is always true on a rear after an accident. On the sprint car or a midget rear, it's imperative that this front snout always be absolutely perfectly true to keep your drive line free. On our rears, what happens is if one comes in that has been tweaked, we actually go over to the arbor press with it first and try to press it back as straight as we possibly can. Generally, we can get them back all the way. If it's really bent bad, we press it back as far as we can, and then we go in, mount off the rear cover because we know that's true, and actually bore in this side, face the snout off, and drop the bearing down a little deeper. There's enough play in the lower shafts, etc., that you're able to take a 5 or 10 thousandths cut to true up the face of the rear and not have to go to, a lot of the other people will go to shims on the front because the bearing sticks out further, but we don't actually have to do that. We'll drop the bearing down in further so you don't have to screw with shims and things like that, and things don't accidentally get missed when you're putting something together. This here part of the shop is all raw material inventory that comes in, tubing, bar, castings over here, forgings, etc. Just basically more of our warehouse facility. The total complex is about 66,000 square foot. We utilize 30,000 plus for machine capability, so to speak, housing the machines, and then the rest is all warehouse. Back here is one of our office departments. My wife Jennifer's there. She handles some customer service stuff, a lot of our purchasing, all sorts of things, keeps me in line. And then another girl sits here usually that does a lot of our accounts payable, issues purchase orders also, that sort of thing. So this is just kind of another office area here at DMI. So we're back into our main manufacturing facility. In this room over here, it's a honing room. It's where we hone the U-joint bases, the spindles, front axles are there currently being honed. This is all product that is started and not finished yet. Here's like midget spindles, the original first things done with them. They go from a solid block to having that done. They go through about 4 more operations until they're actually a finished piece. This is trade show stuff. We have a trade show coming up this weekend, so we don't have that stashed away yet. After this weekend, we'll actually get that stored away for the rest of the season. More bells waiting to be produced. Boxes from our shipping department. Over here I had talked about a broach machine. This is where we put the internal splines on a lot of stuff, the spools, rear wheel centers for sprint cars, spacer kits, etc. Yokes, these are all the broaches. You can kind of see how they start off. Like this is the spool broach. It's a long broach. It starts down here with very little spline on it, and as that broach pulls through, it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until eventually it has the entire spline in the spool. Down the bottom we have the larger stuff, etc. And then the rest of the facility, there's 2 automatic saws here. both that just get programmed and do all the automatic cutting. Over here, an assembly area that we have where the guys generally finish up assembly on spindles, U-joints, etc. Box everything up before it goes into the inventory room. And here's our tumbling room. This is where the product gets deburred. It goes into these tumblers and turns around. This is the REM process here where ring and pinions get polished. It's a 5-hour and 45-minute process. The ring and pinions would go in here. It's different size media. Pinions go in there. It goes through 3 different chemicals that eventually ends up giving it its polished look. So the final room here is our inventory room, shipping and receiving, mostly more shipping. Here you see our inventory. We also have more inventory obviously stacked out in warehouses, that sort of stuff, but we try to always keep the bins as full as we can in here. Matt's our shipper. He handles all that stuff. Generally we have, you know, about $1.8 million worth of inventory that we carry here of product. So when you're thinking that your stuff's on back order, not everything's on back order, just some items are on back order. We do what we can to get them out as soon as we can. And that's pretty much it. So I thank you very much for doing the tour with me today, and that's pretty much DMI.